Hi, Melissa here, and I'm back with another video because it's Friday and that means it's another layout that doesn't feature my children. Today I'm lifting this layout by Jill Sprott. She is absolutely amazing. Always loved her style, and it's quite appropriate because I'm playing along with the challenge that she has issued over her blog, which is a scrap stash challenge, and I posted a video a couple of days ago explaining exactly what had to be in the kit. Last night I went round to a really good friend's house and we've been scrapping together for a long time. She lives about 2 minutes from where I live. And I cracked open my kit and I made two layouts. I made one for Let's Get Sketchy, which you'll see on my blog on my Monday, so I think it's your Tuesday. And I made another one just for fun. So what I've got left here are the scraps of scraps, because if you've watched my video where I showed this kit, you'll know that the requirement is 8 pieces of paper that can't be full sheets, they have to be scraps. And even the speciality papers such as vellum also have to be scraps. So in order to lift this layout of Jill's, I'm not wanting to do it absolutely exactly like hers. You'll see that I've taken the main elements, but one thing I love about Jill is that she has a really clever way of stacking up papers, and they just look like they've fallen into place, and then she'll stitch them down. And I just love that there always seems to be dimension. They're not perfect. She makes layouts that can have hardly any embellishment, and the pattern paper is the embellishment, and that is something that I really love. And I also love that, like I shared before, that her journaling is always heartfelt and beautiful, and her actual handwriting style is really stunning. So I'm just getting the main ideas from her layout, and she used, I think it was a lot smaller photo than what I'm using, so I'm wanting to make it balanced. So I'm getting the main ideas, and then as you'll see when it comes to embellishing, the layout will just take on a life of its own, and it'll really have my style added to it, which lately seems to be adding a lot of stuff. Minimal is something I don't really do that well at the moment. So I've sped this up because it really is just a case of putting papers together, and I've made them uneven on purpose. And one thing she did have was she had a black and white floral that featured, I think, 3 times. It was like the main piece. And so I wanted to do that with that piece of Dear Lizzie Lucky Charm vellum. And it's been great to do this challenge because it means that I can use it up. It's the kind of paper that I would hoard because it's just so beautiful. So just getting everything down, drinking my coffee as always. And I know that I want to leave that middle piece of the layout, that middle portion of the layout free. And I love the way that she had a whole lot of, I think they were vellum hearts from Studio Calico and other bits and pieces, and she roughly stitched them down. So I'm going to be doing that as well, but I make mine into a banner with stickers, and you can see that later on in my video. So for these bottom pieces of paper, they all end up touching each other, so I've just glued them so that they are doing exactly that, but I haven't fully adhered them yet. And I know I'm really on this thing of matting my photos on white, so I did consider just matting that photo on that striped vellum, but it looked fine, but I think it really did need white. So you'll see later on I'll come back and do that, or I may even cut that piece out. But I was just going through the bag where I was keeping all these bits and pieces of the kit, trying to find a piece of vellum that fit, and so there I'm matting it, and it's a really thin mat. I just want a little bit of separation between the photo because it's black and white and at night, and it's not edited in any way. It was, if you know anything about my informal wedding album, you'll know that it's a whole lot of photos that the guests at our reception took with disposable cameras that we put on their tables. So these photos are pretty much point and shoot, or the cameras would point and shoot, and then we just took them in or sent them away and got them developed. And so what you see is what we got. So that white mat provides a bit of softness between 2 layers of vellum. This is a really good style of layout to use up literal scraps. And once again, I didn't overthink these pieces of paper. I did cut them. Most of them I cut on my trimmer so that they had straight edges, and then after that I just went for it. So I think some of the best layouts are created when we don't overthink things. And like every layout, once I finish getting my paper down, which I've done here, I do kind of think to myself, I'm not really sure. It's not looking quite right. But it's always, for me, the embellishment that finishes it off. So here I'm making this banner, and I'm wanting to just follow the white space. One of the requirement for the sticker sheet was to choose a sticker sheet from your stash that had at least one sticker missing, and I think I've probably only used a quarter of these. They're from Vintage Bliss by Simple Stories, and it was one of those collections that I just absolutely had to have it. But in typical Melissa style, I have let it sit around and probably hoarded it far too much. So this is a really good way of using up a lot of the stickers on the sheet. Now I did think a bit harder about where I wanted to put certain elements on here, because I knew that I wanted my title to go through the middle with stickers that I've chosen, just like Jill has done. Although she didn't use stickers, she used big letters of the initial of her and her husband. But because I'm wanting a bigger title, I want to be really mindful of what goes underneath where the title will go. So, for example, those 3 banners with the heart, butterfly and flower, I just love them. So I don't want them to be in a position where they're going to be covered by a thicker. Also doing a bit of embellishment on the other pieces of paper or other area of the layout. And here I'm just trying to decide where to put that circle which says laugh lots, and I just keep it on my finger until I decide. Now, yes, I have got a plaster on my finger, and yes, it was a scrapbooking injury. I cut my finger on my trimmer, which had a new blade on it, and it's actually quite deep. So it's a bit of a worry. I did it last night. It was quite late when I did it, and it's been throbbing in pain today. So scrapbooking can be dangerous. We do need to be careful. Kidding. But seriously, with a blade, I guess we do. Now that's glitter tape from American Crafts, and I've used it on the other 2 layouts that I've made. And I thought about putting it down. I put it down, and as you'll see, it's too much, it's too full on, and it doesn't look right. So I will be taking it off. That burlap heart is, I think the requirement was to grab something on your desk. So in your kit you had to have just something that's already on your desk, and I just grabbed that out of my bowl of bits and pieces that I'm trying to use up, and it was cut by a friend of mine. She had a new die and she wanted to show me how it worked on that burlap paper, so it's really keen to get it used in this layout. And at this point it doesn't look right, it doesn't really work with the style of what I've got going on, but you'll see later on that it will work. So some of these little banner pieces, I'm putting tiny little pop dots behind the bottoms just to lift them up, and that provides a bit of movement and just adds dimension, which is really what pop dots do. And I've done it, I think I've done about 2 or 3 of them I've done that on. So now I'm coming to my journaling, and I've sped this up again, but I've left all of it in just to show you my process. And that's a piece of Glitz design paper. It's quite old, and it was a full sheet, and that piece there was the bottom left. But I've cut it down as if it's a journaling card, and I've just filled in each of the prompts. So journaling's pretty easy when you've got a card like that. There I'm adding this little tab, and I did want to fold it over, but I couldn't fold it straight, so I've just put a pop dot behind it and I'm stapling it on at the top there. And I'm coming back to the placement of that heart, and I've removed it because I'm probably not sure. That's another piece of a journaling card that I used last night, and it's left over, and I think it fits well with the colours on this page, particularly with the leaves and the vellum. So I'm just adding it there for a bit of interest. I like doing things a bit random sometimes. And I've stapled the vellum onto the side of that Kaisercraft paper with all little speech bubbles on it, and I like that texture and interest that that adds as well. Jill had a flare badge with an ampersand on it between her two leather stickers, I guess they were, and I wanted to do that too. So I use natural thickers, so like raw chipboard, and I've just put them down. So the title is Love and Fun, but I wanted to look at altering them because I wasn't sure about having them just natural, and so I used some ink and rubbed it over. I didn't like that, and then I tried outlining it, but because they are so raw, my pen was bleeding. So in the end, I've just decided to leave them just plain. And I think in a way, because this page is quite full on with all the different patterns and papers, that the raw, understated look works really well. So I've finally decided where to put my heart, and now I'm using up a really old pack of brads, and it's so rewarding, or I guess rewarding is the right word, to actually use things up and to think that you could be throwing away packaging, or in my case recycling. So I'm just going through and working out where I want them. I've sped this up as well because it's not that interesting, but it is still part of the process. And I love the way they look. You'll see that I've added my stitching too, I forgot to say. I had a bit of a nightmare with my sewing machine, so there's no point leaving that one in. You really don't want to see me get mad at my sewing machine. Adding the little prize banner that says Happy Day, because it was. And my camera's about to cut out because my memory card got full. But you don't miss much else, really. And so it'll go straight to the final shot, which is there. I'm really happy with how this turned out. So good to use up older product and to use it in a new way. So thanks for watching, and I'll be back again soon. Bye.